Hello friends, welcome back. Okay, so today we're going to look at about constants. We can open that by just going open about constants, constants, and I hit tab to get that autofill. So that's going to open that over here. Another thing I could have done is just clicked over here. So I'm pressing command backslash to get rid of the file structure because we won't need that for now. And so now we're looking at about constants. So our first test that was failing was on line 10. So here we have, this is a constant. A constant is a capital variable. Oftentimes it'll be spelled like this. An example would be maybe like programmer. We could make that equal to useful programmer. Constants will be always titled like this. Like another one would be like website or something like that. You could return that. Maybe programming website. That's how these constants are spelled out. So there's capitals and then they start with capitals, which is different than the snake case that you normally get in there. So C is kind of a weird one. They should have made this a little bit longer, in my idea. But so here, what they're going to start, we're talking about is kind of inheritance, I think, because C is set here, and now we're within this class. We reset C to a new thing. So here, what do you think? So test that nested constants, nested, meaning it's within this class, this big class here. Constants may also be referenced with relative paths. So what do you think C is here? Well, this one actually gives us a close. We want expect fill me in to be nested. So what does that mean? That means that the C is pulling from here. It's not pulling from here. So you can say this is going to be equal to nested. Okay. And then top level constants are referenced by double colons. Okay. So if you do double colons in front of it, is it going to return C like there, or is it going to return top level? It's going to return top level. So you can access constants that may have been overwritten by future class inheritance by using that. So here we're going to see that it's going to be top level. So I'll save my work here and then just run a rake task over here. And it looks like we've moved on to line 18, which is down here, which means it looks like we've got these right. So again, this double quotes, you're going to see this a lot, especially in Rails. That shows that you can move up one class level of inheritance. So we can test that nested constants are referenced by their complete path. So about constants and then C. Well, down here you can see that it's supposed to equal nested. So about constants and then C. So because we've done it explicitly, about constants C, that's going to get us here. So this will be nested. And then even though, so here what they're just saying is you can make it more explicit as well and it will still work. So I think that this is going to be top level. And you'll see that this is the way that the double quotes works as well. So if we were to run rake down here, we'll see our problem now is on line 19. Okay, so I got that wrong. Expected nested. Oh wow. So if you do, even though if you assert the double quotes in front of about constants, you're still going to get the nested value. That's crazy. I would have thought that it would move up in inheritance, but I guess it doesn't. Okay, cool. So 128, let's see, 129. So now we're on line 38, so we passed this test. Let's see, line 38, which is down here. So here we've got a class of animal, and within the animal we have legs of 4. So that's any animals are going to have 4 legs. And then if you type animal.new and then you go and you set that to say dog, and dog.legs in animal, if you do a legs here, you're going to get 4. But if you say a nested animal, then you're going to have different values for legs. No, because this will probably still take the 4 legs which inherits from up here. So test nested classes inherit constants from enclosing classes. So this is the enclosing class, and we're testing to see if legs in animal takes the inheritance from legs. So this is kind of like a cascading inheritance, right? So animal, a nested animal, we create a new nested animal, and the legs in the nested animal, which is this method. So if this is 4, then this is being passed through from this one to this guy. So, and you can see here that it's expected to equal 4. So we know that that's going to be right. We can run a rake task just to kind of move through it. Here we've got line 50 is our new problem. And so I'm just going to scroll down to here. Here's 50, class reptile. So here we're setting class inheritance using this less than statement. And so when you see this less than statement in here, you'll see that that actually gives us the capacity to pass inheritance as well. So even though animal was made explicit up here, the animal class was defined here, reptile is set to be a subclass. So reptile and nested animal are essentially in the same position, despite the fact that they were displayed in different parts of the program. But because you did reptile as a subclass of animal, you'll be able to get 4 down here as well. And you see that this is 4 as well. So we can save our work here and run the rake task, even though we know that's going to pass. And so our next one is on line 66. So I'm going to scroll down here. So line 66 is our error. And so now we have my animals, and then a class of bird is a subclass of animal. Interesting. Def, legs, and bird. Legs. I actually don't know which one this one's going to do. So here we're getting a new bird. So we're setting an instance of creating a new element like this. But this one has a default of inheriting from my animal, despite the fact that it's been set up as a subclass of bird. And so what do you think? I think that the legs are going to be 2. Well, we can tell that that's going to be true from here, but that shows us that it's kind of weird. The bird inherits from animals, but because it also inherits from my animals, 2, it has 2 legs rather than the legs that were defined in 4. And so I think that that's actually because my animals bird, maybe that's because of the inheritance paths. This is actually something I don't entirely understand, which I think I should. And it might make me a better Rails developer, Ruby developer. Which has precedent, the constant in the lexical scope or the constant from the inheritance hierarchy? Okay, so lexical scope is this guy, where you go my animals, : bird. But inheritance hierarchy, where you just go bird and animal, goes like that. Interesting. So that's something that you want to think about. The lexical scope, which is that bird is within the my animals class, is takes greater importance than the inheritance hierarchy, which we set where bird is an class within animal. So animal now has the class of nested animal, reptile, and bird. But my animals takes precedent over that because it is in the lexical scope versus the constant that we see up there. Cool. This is pretty heavy stuff. So let's do a rake task and see where we're at. Now we're on line 81. 81's down here. So my animal's oyster, new, legs in the oyster. So my animal's oyster, animal. Wow, I do not even know. Obviously an oyster shouldn't have any legs. Well, we know that the answer is number 4. It's supposed to be equal 4 because of here on line 81. So why does it equal 4? My animals dot oyster. My animals oyster. So because here we're setting the inheritance hierarchy before we set up the lexical scope, then the inheritance hierarchy takes the precedent. So we have 4 legs for an oyster, which has precedent? The constant in the lexical scope or the constants from the inheritance hierarchy? Why is it different than the previous answer? So why does my animal oyster dot new, just like we have here, legs and bird, legs and oyster. Here we've got legs and oyster, legs and bird. It's the same thing. Why is it that that is there? Well, it's different in that the inheritance hierarchy is set differently. So the bird has an inheritance hierarchy of animal, but here the oyster has an inheritance hierarchy of my animals, which has legs of 2. Which weird. I would think it should be 2. 133. So RB on line 11. This is the next one, so we're done. It is 4. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure of this one. I guess throw it in the comments to show why this works. I mean, it kind of makes sense. My animals, oyster. Because we set the inheritance hierarchy first, and then we did the lexical scope, maybe that's why it takes precedent. Anyways, that's how you do about constants. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. We'll see you in the next lesson.